Have you noticed that your adult children don't call as often anymore? Maybe their visits are fewer, and when you finally do speak, the conversations feel rushed, even shallow. What if I told you this distance might not be about them at all, but about certain words you're unknowingly using? Today, we're uncovering 5 toxic phrases that elderly parents must stop saying to their adult children immediately. These phrases seem harmless, even normal, but they can slowly poison family bonds. And let me warn you, toxic phrase number 2 is so destructive, it has ended countless parent-child relationships forever. Stay with me until the very end, because I'll also reveal what you should say instead, simple replacements that rebuild trust, respect, and closeness. And if you're serious about keeping strong bonds with your children and grandchildren, don't just watch this halfway. Watch it till the end, because even one wrong phrase could be costing you years of connection. But before we dive in, do me a favor, hit that like button so more families can avoid these mistakes. And if you haven't already, subscribe, because every week we share wisdom to help you live healthier, happier, and more connected in your golden years. Part 1. The Silent Destroyers. Most parents don't realize the danger of these phrases. They're not outright insults. They're not screaming matches. They're subtle words that create guilt, resentment, or emotional distance. Let me tell you about Harriet, a 72-year-old widow. She thought she was just expressing concern when she talked to her children. But over time, they visited less, her calls went unanswered, and invitations were politely declined. She felt abandoned. Only after attending family counseling did Harriet learn the shocking truth. It wasn't her children pulling away. It was her own words pushing them away. Within 3 months of changing her communication style, everything shifted. Calls became frequent again. Dinners were filled with laughter instead of tension. She even started getting surprise visits just to check in. That's the power of eliminating these hidden relationship killers. So let's dive in. Toxic phrase number 1. After everything I've done for you. If you've ever said this, you're not alone. Many parents feel unappreciated. But this phrase turns love into a transaction. Instead of being about care, it becomes about debt. Family psychologists warn this creates resentment instead of gratitude. Your children didn't ask to be born, you chose to raise them. When you remind them of sacrifices, it feels like a lifelong bill they can never fully pay. Instead, replace it with, I really miss hearing your voice. Would you like to set a time each week to catch up? This communicates your need without guilt. It transforms obligation into genuine connection. If you are still with me, hit that like button, subscribe, and share this video with a friend who might need it. Toxic phrase number 2. Your spouse is turning you against me. This is the most dangerous phrase of all. Why? Because it forces your children to choose between you and their life partner. And guess what? They will almost always choose their spouse. Take Barbara, a grandmother from Seattle. She constantly hinted that her daughter-in-law was stealing her son. One day, she crossed the line at a family dinner, publicly accusing her daughter-in-law of keeping her away. That night, her son texted, "We need a break." That break lasted 18 months. She missed birthdays, anniversaries, and even the birth of her first grandchild. Instead, say, I value both of you, and I'd love to spend more time together. What works best for your family schedule? This shows respect for their marriage and opens doors instead of slamming them shut. Before I move on, quick question. Have you ever accidentally said one of these phrases? Let me know in the comments. Sometimes just recognizing it is the first step toward healing. Toxic phrase number 3. In my day, we did things differently. It sounds harmless, nostalgic even. But to your adult children, it feels like criticism. Like you're saying their choices are wrong and your way was superior. Take Timothy, a 74-year-old granddad. Every time he offered childcare advice, he began with, in my day. His daughter eventually snapped, Dad, times have changed. Stop acting like I'm doing it all wrong. Instead, try. I'd love to hear how you're handling this. Would you like me to share what worked for me when you were young? See the difference? One makes them defensive, the other invites conversation. Toxic phrase number 4. You never visit. You never call. Words like never and always are relationship destroyers. Even if your children called last week, this phrase makes them feel like failures. Evelyn, a 70-year-old widow, used to say this to her daughter all the time. But when she started keeping a journal, she realized her daughter actually contacted her 2 to 3 times a week. The issue wasn't her daughter's neglect, it was her own perception of time. Instead, say, I really enjoyed our call last Tuesday. It brightened my day. Could we set a regular time that works for you? Gratitude opens the door. Complaints slam it shut. If you are still with me, hit that like button, subscribe, and share this video with a friend who might need it. Toxic phrase number 5. You'll regret it when I'm gone. Using your mortality as leverage is emotional blackmail. It doesn't bring children closer. It makes them run. Robert, a 78-year-old father, used this line whenever his kids missed a gathering. Eventually, his children dreaded visiting because every interaction was drenched in guilt. Instead, say, these family moments mean so much to me. I'd love to create more of them together. This expresses your desire without fear or manipulation. The science behind the damage. Harvard research shows that when people hear guilt-inducing or manipulative phrases, their brain reacts as if under threat. Over time, the brain starts associating those conversations with stress, and the natural response is avoidance. That's why your adult children may not even realize why they're pulling away. It's not rejection. It's self-protection. The good news? You can retrain their brains to associate interactions with you as positive, safe, and enjoyable. But only if you change the way you communicate. Practical fixes. Family therapists recommend a 3-step strategy. 1. Self-awareness. Notice when you're about to say a toxic phrase. Ask yourself, am I lonely? Am I scared? What do I really want to say? 2. Pause or take a deep breath before speaking. That moment of control can change everything. 3. Replace or choose a healthier phrase that communicates need without blame. Over time, these small adjustments create big transformations. Positive communication habits. If you want to keep your children close, focus on building bonds instead of tearing them down. Here's how. Express appreciation. Instead of saying, you never visit, say, thank you for calling yesterday. It made my day. Respect boundaries. Remember, your children juggle careers, kids, and responsibilities. They love you, but they can't always drop everything. Make interactions enjoyable. Share good news, laughter, and positivity. Don't let every conversation be about complaints. Create new traditions. Instead of clinging to the past, adapt gatherings to fit their lives today. A real-life transformation. Patricia, a 75-year-old grandmother, was losing touch with her children. Every conversation turned sour. But she committed to removing these toxic phrases. 6 months later, her daughter, who had once avoided her calls, invited her on a mother-daughter weekend trip, something Patricia thought would never happen. Her reflection was powerful. It wasn't that my children didn't love me. They just couldn't handle the emotional weight of my words. Finally. So here's what I want you to remember. Your words have power. They can build bridges or walls. If you recognize yourself in any of these phrases, don't feel ashamed. Awareness is the first step to change. Choose one phrase to eliminate this week. Replace it with its healthy alternative. You'll be amazed at how quickly the atmosphere shifts. Now let me ask you, which phrase surprised you the most today? Tell me in the comments. I'd love to know. And if you found this video helpful, don't leave just yet. Hit that like button, subscribe, and share this video with a friend who might need it. It could save a family relationship before it's too late. Because at the end of the day, family is everything. And the words we choose are the threads that hold it together.